So how have you been since we last saw each other?
I've been good.
Yeah, you went on vacation, right?
I did.
How was that?
It was nice. It was nice to disconnect, just be with my boyfriend and just be a woman,
Yeah.
not a mother, not an entrepreneur, not a healer.
Yeah.
Just be,
Yeah.
He worked a lot, half the day. So I was able to be with myself, and I think that was great too.
Yeah, that's always nice. And you have a really nice tan. I'm so jealous.
Thank you.
So it's kind of funny how we met. Well, it's not that funny, but the circumstances that led us here. I contacted you on Instagram because I was working on a separate project, not this podcast. And I was looking for small business owners in Laval that I could collaborate with. And I came across your Instagram page, evolving_with Mandy. And I thought you were based in Laval. I think because you had tagged some of your posts in Laval. So I reached out to you. Turns out you don't actually live in Laval. But yeah, I reached out to you and you were super nice. Willing to collab with me. So you came over, we did what we had to do. And I think I told you that I needed like an hour of your time, but I think you spent like 2 hours at my place.
At least.
Yeah, because we spent like a good half hour, 45 minutes, like just chit-chatting, and we had a lot in common. And I thought, I want this girl to come on my podcast because I feel like there's so much that we can talk about uninterrupted and not having to like tend to other things. So here we are. It's just the second time that we see each other, but I'm excited for this conversation. So I really liked your Instagram page because it looks like you've built like a nice little community of women. You're super active. You're like a personal coach, personal trainer, a healer, a whole bunch of things. So can you tell me a bit about like what it is that you do? I know you wear many hats, so let's start with one. You're a personal coach, so I assume that you have a pretty solid background in fitness, right?
Yes. So I did start off as Fit by Mandy initially, and that's when I became a mom. And I realized that I was very lonely, and I was a high-level competitor in CrossFit before that. And I really I had a cesarean. I had to start back at zero, and so I had a new compassion of how to train. And for like the struggle of training and getting back into it. And on top of that, I was very lonely, right? So
because you didn't have other mothers around you?
Right. I was the first of my friend group, of my nephew. So it was much older. So I was here in this new life. And there was a lot of members in the gym, actually in my CrossFit gym at that time, that became moms at the same time. And months went by, and I was just staring at them like, why are you guys like normal again? I couldn't understand what was happening to me. So
how were you not normal? Like you say they were normal. Like was it the fact that they were back in the gym?
They were back in the gym. They were laughing. They were smiling. They weren't tired. Like life just went back to normal, it seemed for them, And I was just like, why do I feel so different?
Yeah.
Why am I so tired? I couldn't understand, and I had no one to talk to. Like I couldn't understand what I was going through.
You felt like your experience was unique in that sense.
Right.
Like, okay.
At that time. And so I decided to start this mommy group where you can bring your babies to train. And we always start with mom talk so that other new moms felt safe, like, and understood in like their journey of becoming a mom. So what happened was I had misdiagnosed postpartum. So the doctors constantly told me, it's normal to be tired. You're a new mom. It's normal. all of this is normal. And so I just thought that's how you're supposed to feel. But I knew something deep inside that something was off. And it just never went away. So it took 2 years.
Okay.
2 years to properly get diagnosed.
Okay, so you're saying the doctors didn't diagnose you as having postpartum depression. Okay.
No. They just said my obstetrician and doctor just felt like I was a new mom and it was normal to be as tired as I was.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's how Fit by Mandy was born.
Okay. And how did you reach out to these? Were they women that you knew? Like, how did you form that little community?
Because CrossFit back then was really big and I was a coach.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of connections, and then social media.
Yeah.
The same way we met.
Yeah.
The same way we met. I just called for 10 moms to try out this class, and it was an instant hit.
Is that the buns and
bottles?
Buns and bottles. What a cute, sassy, witty name.
Right?
I love it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it's still ongoing to this day.
Yes.
So when did it first start? 7 years. Wow. And I assume that the clients or the moms that train with you today are not the same ones who were with you 7 years ago. Some.
There's some that have come back for baby 2, baby 3.
Right.
Some have been with me for like years.
Wow.
Initially, I started the class for your maternity leave. So you can bring your baby. You don't have any excuses. This is self-love time. This is me time. You don't need a babysitter. And they just never left. They felt so empowered.
Yeah, what a great idea.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. And where would you hold these classes?
I rent spaces in Laval.
Okay.
Yes.
Which explains the connection.
Laval.
Yeah.
So yes, Buns and Bottles was born at Laval. It was CrossFit Laval.
Okay.
And that gym changed my life. And the owner, Mathieu, I'm going to shout out to you, Duvrak, he encouraged me to become a mom, and he encouraged me to start these classes. And I'm a very connected to Laval.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. And so how did you transition from that personal training to personal coaching?
Wow.
It's a long story.
Aren't they all?
Yeah.
Transition, well, during lockdown, we didn't have access to the gym. So I started my online platform. And this is where moms needed it most, right? We were not mentally or emotionally equipped, I think, to stay with our babies 24/7. And then work started. Sometimes the beauty of the class was that if a mom had an emotional experience, we wouldn't even train. We would just stay in mom talk.
Really?
Yeah, so I've always been intuitive into what my members needed.
Yeah.
And I always adapted according to their needs. So sometimes they were angry and they needed to load that bar and lift really heavy. And sometimes they just needed to cry. And we would just all gather together and we would just be one together. And I didn't realize what I was doing throughout the process. And so that carried on during the lockdown. And afterwards, I was like, my slogan was healing from the inside out, loving ourselves from the inside out. So I didn't even realize I was a self-love coach before I decided to be evolving with Mandy.
Yeah.
So I just decided, obviously I felt like I needed a certificate to say I was a life coach, you know, just to be able to have confidence to get out there.
Yeah.
And
I think it adds credibility to, whether we like it or not. It's always a plus.
Absolutely. And in that program, there was also a Theta Healing program where I learned how to be a practitioner. And
what program?
Theta Healing.
Okay.
So that's what I do, that energy healing. So I was already doing the body, the fitness part. So I learned mind, body, soul connection.
Okay.
And I think I started, it was 3 years ago.
Okay.
3 years ago. So that's how we switched from just fitness to the mind, body, soul.
Okay.
There's obviously a little story in between.
Yes.
That led me there.
So before we get to the story, like what does a, like if somebody wants to like sign up for healing, what happens? Like take me through, I don't know, would you call that a class or like a session, a healing session?
A healing session, right. I usually always combine it with my life coaching programs. But if healing comes to you, it's bigger than you, like your body earns to let go and start a new chapter, be fresh, and you want whatever it is that's bringing you down or the patterns that you're repeating you just want to be free of it,
right?
Free your shackles. So there's a lot of, I really love the returning of soul fragments. So anyone that we have an emotional connection to, healing of that sort, we can talk to spirit guides, we can talk to your higher self, the possibilities are endless.
Okay. When you first meet someone, are you able to like read their aura or
definitely?
Yeah.
Just like how we met, right?
Yeah.
I came for the other part, a lash lift. And we just had this soul connection where that's energy.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that awareness, then you don't understand it so much. You're like, oh, I really connect to this person. Yeah. But what I like to teach in my spiritual classes, spiritual connection, is that what energy is.
Yeah.
Why sometimes you can meet somebody and totally hit it off. You align with them, you vibe with them.
You speak the same language.
You speak the same language, and sometimes you're drained.
Yeah.
After you leave a house, a situation, or a workplace, right? Mm-hmm. It's all energy, and you can shift that, and you could protect that, you could release it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So one thing I've noticed is that a lot of times people who are drawn to these professions of like self-development, healing, understanding ourselves and others have been through something. It's not always the same thing, but it's something that kind of forces you to stop, to look at yourself, to understand who you are, why certain things have happened, and so on. And you alluded to a personal story. So let's get into that story a little bit, as much as you feel comfortable sharing.
For sure.
So before you became a mom, before you started Fit by Mandy, who was Mandy? What were you up to? What were you doing?
I believe in being transparent. Okay. This is what connects me to my community. And I love sharing my story, even though she lived a tough life, Yeah. And I would say unfortunately, but fortunately, I have these lifelong issues that I had to overcome, basically, that led me here. And it did start at 13, where I started my eating disorder. Mm-hmm. So from my eating disorder, we went to obviously toxic eating habits, substance abuse to stay happy and free and forget, and substance abuse to stay skinny. Mm-hmm.
Was there something that like sparked that eating disorder? Did you go through something?
So I went through many years of therapy. I still to this day have not unlocked my childhood.
Okay.
So my latest therapist, she told me at 13 years old, you don't just become bulimic. Mm-hmm. Usually it's later on in life, a little later on. So there's definitely something that happened that sparked that.
Okay.
And I still haven't uncovered, but I am officially ready to go there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So after that, the substance abuse, so before Fit by Mandy, she was a party girl, and I loved it.
Okay.
I loved every part of it, but it was very toxic. So obviously there's depression, there's suicidal thoughts, there's escapism, you name it.
Yeah.
You know, you name it.
So what happened to put an end to all of this and become healthier?
Honestly, I gave myself till 19 years old.
Okay.
And I didn't think I was going to live past 19.
As in, like, if things don't get better at 19, then I'm out?
I'm not sure if you ever suffered with depression, but while you're in it, you never think you'll ever get out of it. You think that this is what it is.
Yeah.
But there was something inside of me that drove me to one more day. Mm-hmm. And it was always, I was meant to save a life. Mm-hmm. I always knew, like, I felt like my calling was bigger than me, that I needed to save a life. And then, even though I was so lost and so, I don't like to use this word, damaged at that time, I was always empathetic. Like, I always thought of, who was I going to hurt if I left?
Yeah.
I cry a lot. Yeah. So at 19 was my first spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was trying to understand why I had everything that any girl needed. Any teenage girl. I had wonderful friends. I had, I was accepted. I was, I had a great family. I just couldn't understand, why did I always want to die? Mm-hmm. I couldn't understand. And so at 19, we started the spiritual journey. My friends brought me there.
Brought you where?
For my first spiritual healing.
Okay.
Yeah. And we started meditating then with Deepak and Oprah.
Oh, really?
Right.
Were you there in 2000? Did you go? Because Deepak Chopra came to Montreal in 2010.
No, I did not go.
No? Okay, because I went.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, what I would give for that.
I was a little disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. It was so long ago, I don't remember, but sometimes you hype people up and then your expectations are too great. So maybe I went in with like unfair or like, unfair expectations. Yeah. But I just remember being like, oh, okay. Like I didn't need this. Like I really thought that I was going to come out like refreshed or like
enlightened.
Yeah.
I think with spirituality, now we're going to go off topic a little, but with spirituality, a lot of the times you want this instant gratification, like, okay, I'm going to go there and I'm going to be brand new. Yeah. But the healing journey is a lot harder than living in your trauma.
You actually posted something either today or yesterday about the healing journey not being linear.
Right.
You're the one who posted that. Yeah. Okay. I was like, maybe it was someone else.
It is not, because again, there's so many things throughout our life that we suppress unconsciously, subconsciously, and we don't feel them anymore. Mm-hmm. And once you start to heal and go on that journey and you're like, okay, well, I'm ready to release this part.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, once that part heals, something else comes to the surface because you're ready to heal that part, and you're like, okay, so let's go, and then something else is going to come up and you're like, okay, a pattern. Mm-hmm. It came back. So I thought I healed this, but then it came back, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really important to get to the root of where everything stems from. And I know it's said everywhere, but it really does stem from childhood.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah. And the first 4 years, when they say babies' brains are sponges, it's because they're in that theta state. So theta state is that state right before you fall asleep. Mm-hmm. So they're, that's why they feel so deep. They absorb everything. They're ready to absorb. That's what their brains are doing. And then until 8 years old, this is where your blueprint lies, right? So everything around you that surrounds you, what you see and what you feel and what you learn, will be your imprint into adulthood. So sometimes we don't understand why we react a certain way if it doesn't align with who we are now. That's why healing is so important.
Yeah, those crucial years are everything. And unfortunately, you're not like that connected to yourself at that time. It's not like you can talk yourself through your emotions or like give yourself perspective or wisdom. You're just a child.
Right.
So you don't have the information, the knowledge or the wisdom to even know what to do with what's happening with you. You're just living it.
Yeah. But the great thing is that we can alter our thoughts, we can change our thoughts, we can really let go of all these imprints and patterns and traumas with the work. You can be new. You can be restored. It's just that the journey to get there sometimes is really bumpy. I was going to say brutal.
We could call it bumpy.
No, you're right. Brutal is more accurate.
Depends what it is, right? Yeah.
Do you find it hard to connect with people who don't share that same commitment to wholeness or to healing?
No. I feel like I connect to humans just on a human level.
Yeah.
And at first, just like when I became a CrossFit coach, I wanted everyone to do CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then when I saw how powerful life coaching is, like, wow, your life can really change in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
You could really change like a lifetime of how you thought. I don't understand. And healing, so you want everyone to heal. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
What I had to learn is that, healing is your birthright. It's when you're ready. You can't convince anyone to heal, when they're not ready to, when they're not ready to see it or emotionally or.
Yeah. So people who come to you, when people come to you for one thing, do they often end up asking for more? So if somebody comes for personal coaching, do they end up like signing up for like fitness classes and vice versa?
Definitely. I have different programs that it's just, just mind, just body, just soul, or we'll mix 2 or 3, the trifecta. I think you need to be connected, mind, body, soul, to be whole, to understand yourself, to have that clarity. So sometimes if you do come in for life coaching, you think that you're coming in for coaching because you don't have the awareness of what spiritual healing, the power of spiritual healing.
Yeah.
But if you're coming to me for life coaching, it's because you need clarity. You're trying to discover what you like again. A lot of moms in their 40s, midlife crisis is a thing. So it's, that's more on the men's part. But the women's part, their identity was a wife. Maybe not so much now, divorce rate. Or motherhood, right? You live for your child, you live for your family, your household, and then you're just like, okay, well, what do I like? Do you know what you like?
Are you asking me? Yeah, I know what I like.
Yes, good for you, And so a lot of people don't. A lot of moms... I specialize with moms, so that's why I say moms, but a lot of 20-year-old girls are coming to me too. So we're here collectively to heal, and it's getting younger and younger.
Yeah. Do the 20-year-olds have similar issues, or like, are they lacking clarity on the same things that like older, I don't want to say older women, but like your older clients?
No, they come for 2 different reasons. So let's say if you're in your 30s or 40s and your children are starting to grow, or maybe your child's 4 years old and you're like, what happened? I don't know what I like. Where am I going? What's my direction? A lot of moms want to change career. They want to be home with their mom, with their children, their families. So there's a lot of confusion for the 20-year-olds. They want to find their soulmate. They want to be good because of the way they were raised. And they already have that awareness, because that's a good thing about social media, is that it brought a lot of awareness to a younger generation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I absolutely see that.
Right? Versus figuring it out in your 40s, 50s. Because again, so suppressed that you think whatever it is normal, right? So these young girls know that they want to feel confident in their body. So even though they want to feel confident in their body, they're not coming to me for fitness. They know it starts with the inside. You need to love yourself first to make any sort of change. But what is love? You need to know.
Tell us, what is love?
It's
How do you
different
define
for
it?
everyone, but to connect to your heart's desires, to be still with yourself, it's the only way to figure it out, is to ask yourself these questions. And I'm sure a lot of, nobody knows where to start. So hire a coach, a mentor.
Yeah.
It's temporary and it changes your life.
So if somebody wants to hire you, do they hire you for, like, you said a set period of time? So how long?
Yeah.
Is it-
My basic programs are 8 weeks. But that's just uncovering. That's just the discovering part. So basically, that's where you get to know who you are, have the clarity of where you want to go, why you went through such certain events in your lifetime, to make that clear, to heal that part, to understand what your passions are. So that's 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But once, and some clients, they're satisfied after 8 weeks. That's what they needed.
Yeah.
And for the ones that are earning for that deeper connection, that, they know that there's something bigger.
Yeah.
They usually stay with me. Okay. Yeah, for at least 6 months. Some clients, it's a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've seen firsthand their transformation.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
can
such
you
a
can you
gift.
share like one story, or without like
my
naming
baby
any?
girl, I tell her all the time. She always promotes me, and I always promote her. Wow, what a story. She really came to me. She said, "I'm tired of not being like." She wasn't like a kind person. Like she knew that she wanted a change. Like she's like, I don't want to be this version of myself anymore. I don't like the situations that I'm in and the way I treat people. Or she hasn't taken a picture of herself in years.
Yeah.
And her connection in her relationship, she knows that she had to heal what she went through in her life. So we started with the 8-week program, uncovering. She wasn't ready to heal certain things, so we worked on other things. And then she discovered who she was. She left her job because it no longer served her. She left the country to find family members so she could understand her life better.
Oh my goodness. All of this, like, because of the conversations that you were having.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, she came back and she started a new diet. She did fitness with me too. She did fitness on the side. She journaled every day. And when she sucked at it, she's like, Amanda, I need you. Like, I'm not happy with myself, and she was dedicated. That's commitment. That's commitment. So she did the work. I gave her tools. She did the work. And it's incredible. Girl, she cut that hair. She's like loving it. She's, loves every part about herself.
Oh,
her
that's
life,
great to
started a
hear.
new life, her nomad dream. Like, she could work wherever she wants.
That's
and
awesome.
It's incredible. It's
And
incredible.
how
her
long was
transformation.
her?
Intense? I think intense we might have done 6 months intense, and then, once a month, and then once every 3 months. And now I think it's a year and a half, girl. I don't see her.
Okay.
But
and she's doing well. That's really
she's
nice
fantastic.
to hear.
She's really living her best life. And she's 28,
Yeah. It must be so gratifying for you to see the fruit of your labor. I know you said that she's the one she did the work, but it was still under like your guidance and your...
I know. I'd love to take credit for it. I would love to. I know it's a weakness of mine. So if there's any coaches that could help me with this, I don't like to take credit.
Yeah, and it's not to take credit away from her. She did the work, but you played a role in her journey, in her transformation.
And a lot of women have had these transformations just joining the fitness community, because you're with like-minded women, because you feel, comfortable and starting wherever you're at in your journey, just making that change. We're always working empowerment and self-love work, even in just the fitness programs, So I've had clients I have one client now. How long are we working together? I think since September.
Okay. So almost a year.
I think, yeah. And she's just doing program after program. And, some things are harder to unstick.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have gone through the transformation that she's gone through with such compassion and patience.
Towards herself?
Yeah. If she didn't see me weekly. Weekly, we're talking about weekly.
Yeah.
The work is hard.
It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, the work. How do you define the work? Like, what is the work?
Work.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly the commitment.
Yeah. I was going to say, is it like just showing up and just being willing to address things?
Yeah. Understanding. You have to be coachable.
Yeah.
Whether I self-healed. I learned everything that I learned mainly with a little workshop here, a little workshop there, some friends. My friend, thank God I have a friendship circle that we're all connected. The deep diving work I taught myself, right? So it's like you have to understand that there's going to be really dark phases if you're doing that shadow work. But you have to understand what you're going through. So that commitment to not turn around and say, F it. This is way too hard. You have to sit with that pain. All emotions are good emotions, even those heart-wrenching ones.
Yeah.
Curled up in a ball. Girl, I've curled up in balls throughout my divorce, and did a lot of work.
I guess that healing is, in a way, like a return to yourself.
I love that. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like not running away anymore and just sitting and feeling whatever it is that you need to feel, and confronting or facing whatever it is that you have to face. And
100%.
yeah, like we do that. I think that like for a lot of us, that's how we spend our lives, just running away from those things that we don't want to face because it's too painful, it's too hard. And we turn to all kinds of things to suppress those emotions, like you said. And yeah, like doing the work is not running away anymore and just taking it one step at a time. Yeah.
Acceptance. That's the first step.
Yeah.
Acceptance. Then it's awareness.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, we don't know that we're running.
Yeah, because you're just going through life doing things that everybody else is doing.
You're like, oh, I love to work, you know? I love to work all these hours. Oh, I'm going to go to work even when it's my day off on the weekend at night more than I have to. You're obviously trying to occupy yourself from something that you don't want to deal with. And most of the time it's subconscious, unconscious.
Yeah, especially when it's things that are not necessarily bad for you. If you're like, let's say you're not turning to drugs or you're not turning to like an excess of alcohol or like, all sorts of things. Like some things are just, let's say, obviously bad. And others, like if you're just working a lot, no, you're just ambitious. If you're doing, there are certain things that are socially acceptable coping mechanisms.
So some people are ambitious, and I'm not saying that everybody that works a lot, it's because they're running from something. But I'm saying that there's a lot of the times that we're not aware.
Yeah.
Are you able to sit down in silence? What happens if you sit down in silence? Oh no, I'm bored. Well, it's good to be bored.
Yeah.
You don't have to be stimulated all the time.
Yeah.
So why are you not okay with being bored? Why are you not okay with being silent?
Yeah.
Why
are we not okay with being bored?
Well, because we don't know how to be still. Because if we're still, a lot of things come up.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know yourself the best. Be still.
Yeah.
In utter silence.
Yeah.
Like the things that are gonna come up, it's gonna be an interesting ride.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do choose to do it, journal it, write it down.
Yeah.
What came up. And these are, the little things. This is like an easy way to start healing. Oh, okay. Well, this came up. I didn't know I felt this way. And then you start journaling. Boom. Tap into your subconscious. Healing could be really easy at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Starting the journey.
Yeah. It's as if it's not complicated, but it's brutal. Right?
Yeah, there's some things that are uplifting. You could do some ceremonies and some workshops where maybe what you're looking at for with Deepak.
Yeah.
Like maybe you wanted to feel free and feel weightless. I'm not saying that all healing experiences are deep and dark. There's some that make you feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
Let's say breath work. And it's my newfound love that I love to teach. If you don't want to meditate, if you don't want to journal, come breath work with me. Mm-hmm. And the things you will uncover in a somatic activation, obviously. It's during you feel like it's real, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the healing process. So you're just like, oh, this is very overwhelming. Like I'm feeling all these emotions, like I'm back into that situation that brought me here.
Yeah. Like an emotional flashback.
Right. And we store things physically.
Yeah.
Right. So you're feeling everything physically, emotionally, spiritually. And once that session is over, you're going to feel like that $1,000,000. You're going to be like, wow.
Yeah. Does it happen that some people get stuck in the emotional messiness? Like things come up and they're unable to let go of them?
I will never leave anyone in that state. And I have never had anyone that's truly stuck in that state. What happens is that usually when you have big releases, things can come up. So you might leave feeling great. And then after the next 3 days, you might feel a little bit off. And you're just like, why am I not okay? This is just the healing process. And all you have to tell yourself is that this is the last of it. It's okay to feel it. And then it's your body releasing it. Mm-hmm. Right? So you need to have that release afterwards. You're changing your frequencies, your vibrations, you're releasing traumas, things that are stored in you for so long. You might have an emotional down and then it'll regulate itself.
Okay.
But having a coach to text, to call during that time gives you like this sense of comfort. Like, okay, what I'm going through is normal. Okay. I just have to write it out. Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like it would be scary to go through that alone.
I've like I said, when I self-heal, I did it alone. And because I didn't know what I was going through, I stayed in that state for like a month, depending on how deep. Yeah. There was one traumatic experience that brought me back to my unworthiness, right? So that was deep. That was like little girl deep, right?
Yeah.
So if I knew that's what I was going through, I would have been able to self-modulate a lot easier and simpler. That's why I find it very important to have a mentor by your side.
I think that there's only, I don't think that most people or the average person is meant to go through something like that alone. Like, I think that you are equipped with like, or maybe like you discovered those things as you were going through them. But I think it takes like a specific set of qualities that you're either born with or not born with that enable you to like be that person for yourself.
I think that because of my life, half my life was spent depressed and trying to fight to survive. And I fought every day for my happiness. Every single day. I was just like, if I felt a day of happiness, then I was in that trauma circle, that pattern where I just used to always fall back into depression. And I was like, I'm not meant to be happy. Our words are spells. And, I felt happy. I was pregnant. I was fulfilled. And then after, I got over the substance. I got over the body dysmorphia. I got over the eating disorders. I pretty much did it all alone.
Yeah. How did you do it?
I have no idea. I just did it. I just showed up and a lot of self-love work. A lot.
So it was the natural consequence of you just being what? Like more
their choices. Everything starts with a little choice.
Yeah, but
right?
So let's say something like an eating disorder or body dysmorphia. Like you made a choice and then a choice.
It didn't go away naturally. Obviously, there's people that walk into your lives that, that can change your life in a day, in one conversation.
For the better?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
In my experience, So at 19 years old, I went to Africa.
Yeah.
I volunteered there for 2 months. That was my sort of substance-free life for the first time. And I was alone.
You went alone?
I went alone. 19 years old, girl.
To Africa alone?
Yeah. Those little kids were the happiest little kids I ever met.
Yeah.
And then you think, boom, life change. Why? This village, these children, they have a bag of rice for a week. They need to go sell food for their family so they don't go to school. When they go to school, they get punished. They get hit in front of everybody. They don't have toys. They don't have TV. They don't have a roof. They have walls. But they had one house where when it rained, they all gathered together and they danced. They were not crying because they didn't have a roof. They danced. And if someone passed away in that village, they danced. And you're just like, wow, why are we unhappy? Because we don't have what we want. These kids were the happiest kids I've ever seen in my life. And they taught me how to just dance. Like, you don't need anything to be happy.
So that trip, like you learned some lessons on that trip that you brought back with you?
For sure. And then you relapse.
Yeah.
And then it's really bad because your habits are still your habits, right? If you don't heal them properly. But I had that experience to keep me going. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 choices. I know I'm going to die this way, or I choose life. I didn't know how. I just chose life. And then I figured it out. There's therapies, there's spiritual connection. I was heavy into spirituality, trying to figure it out. Then there's people that walk into your lives and it's just like, you're better than this, like, let's go, let's keep going. My friendship circle is, no matter how bad I was, they were literally, it's my village holding me up, and you just keep going one day at a time. And I didn't think I was ever going to accept my body. And I didn't think that I was ever not going to want to go out and all, I didn't think that I was ever going to be this version of me today. That's for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I met my ex, they're all moments. You met my ex-husband. We fell pregnant, and it was just like, in that moment, I was restored. You're like,
through that relationship and your pregnancy?
The pregnancy. Okay. Yeah, the pregnancy.
Okay.
And, then you become a mom, and wow, this was the puzzle piece I was missing. I am fulfilled. My body, it's wonderful. What it does, it's magic. We're magic. Mm-hmm. We're magic. If you've ever, you're watching Carried a Child or aspiring moms, like, when they say you're superhuman, it's incredible. Yeah. Your body morphs back into itself, and you're just like, wow, I carried life. Mm-hmm. I'm healed.
It's amazing that it had that effect on you, because it doesn't have that effect on all women.
Oh, I hated being pregnant.
Okay.
No. All my demons came out. My body issues, all that came out for sure. But there was a part that felt whole from, a soul level. Mm. Then you're happy. And then depression came back.
Yeah.
And then depression leads to divorce.
Why did it lead to divorce?
Everything moved really fast when we met. And we did it just on love. Okay. We had our baby on love, and we got married on love, and marriage is a lot more than that.
Yeah.
To be lifelong compatible partners, you have to be two that want to be better, do better. Yeah. It doesn't matter that no one's perfect, mm-hmm. But that commitment, communication, these things keep relationships alive. Yeah. And so we were young, and that's that. So at 30, I thought I had my life all together, and then mm-hmm. boom, here we go, restart again. Man does not meant to be happy.
Yeah,
back in that cycle.
Is that like because everybody has like a tune, that mm-hmm. like that's on repeat in your brain that you kind of like have to fight against? Is that one yours?
Yeah, when I would go down,
meant to be happy.
Yeah, when I go down, for sure.
We all have that that's very specific narrative that we can like perpetuate if we're not careful.
And that's why we repeat patterns, because this is our belief system.
Yeah.
But this is why you hire a coach to switch these belief systems, right? Because you can. Mm-hmm. I don't believe I'm not meant to be happy anymore. It's just without the awareness, like we said before, and without the knowledge, you're just like, okay, I tried. Yeah. I tried to be happy. I just don't know how to be, mm-hmm. And at that point, that's when the depression was probably one of the worst. I had two really big downfalls. Okay. So it just didn't end. And I just went to my doctor. I signed my divorce papers. We said we didn't want to get divorced for 2 years. So we were separated for 2 years. I signed the papers January 2020. February, I went to the doctor. I said, I'm not suicidal, but I think dying is the only way that this is going to end for me. And I just stopped fighting, mm-hmm. So I went into burnout, and then the lockdown happened a month later, and that was my first pill. I surrendered to medication. My doctor said, since 19 years old, you've been denying it. Mm-hmm. Try it.
Did you respond well to it?
Absolutely not. No. It changed my life. Okay. It's what I needed.
Yeah.
And I did it short term because I had the right team by my side.
Okay. But you did it, so you're
3
saying...
months I was on.
Okay.
A month to wean off. And no, my body, I want to be a natural flower.
Yeah.
So...
Okay.
And I'm hyper, I'm, all over the place. So having this pill that just shuts all of that down, I felt like a stranger.
Okay.
But it was a big gift.
Okay. Even though you only took it for 3 months?
Yeah. Because all I needed I wasn't logical anymore. There was no more logic in my mind. It was all emotional. I was emotion based. I couldn't understand why I wasn't worthy enough for my husband to take me back.
Yeah.
And it broke me, And my joke is I finally learned how to think like a man. I loved it. I had no emotion. I was just logical. I was like, wow, this is a great place to be.
Well, how long were you there for?
3 months. I was done with it. I wanted my feminine energy back. But it gave me the clarity and where I needed to go. And that stepping stone, I always had those little moments, those little stepping stones on no matter how down I am, I had that part in me that I knew what being whole felt like. I knew what being happy felt like. So I knew what I was chasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was ready. My therapist, she gave me therapy for free during the lockdown because I couldn't afford it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wonderful woman.
That's very noble and gracious.
And all she said is just pay it forward. And ever since then, anyone could join any of my programs for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you make a living?
Not everybody.
Okay.
No, not everybody. But if you're going through, if you lost your job, if you're on mat leave, if something happens.
You're understanding towards that.
100%. And I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I truly believe. I
can see that it's
in greater happiness. Everyone's meant to be happy and loved. And imagine someone turns their back on you when
you needed the most. Yeah. Good for you, Mandy. Good for you.
Yeah.
So you're in a relationship now?
I am.
Yeah. It's I find it really inspiring that even though you go through setbacks, you get back on the horse. So you don't let negative events take like a permanent hold of you. So it's not like you went through a divorce, the relationship didn't work out, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore.
What can I learn from it? What is it that as a wife, I failed you as a wife? In what sense? For me, when I was down, I used to say like, how can you leave me at my worst? Right? But his story was different. His story was like, I didn't feel like you appreciated me as a man, as your man, So I was like, okay, let's learn from that. Whether I was down or not, let's learn from that. And I think what's really important is if you do go back into it with an open heart, to go back into something with love walls, with heart walls, with barricades, you're just better off not going in it just yet. So I made sure that I loved me and I'd want to date me. And until I loved every part of me, I didn't want to love. And
but isn't that the work of a lifetime to love yourself completely? Like how do you know that because like we said, healing is not linear. You kind of like relapse sometimes. So
100%. I just wanted to be that version of me that that I loved.
Yeah.
You know, I was trying to chase perfection as a wife, and I got the complete opposite. I was the complete opposite, you know? And then I felt like a failure. I just had to accept that I'm not a conventional housewife, nor do I want to be. And before, I was traumatized. So I'd, you know, like if I try to meet someone, I was like, oh, hi, you know, I don't cook and I don't clean and, you know, I don't like to clean and I'm not that, you know, so am I still worthy?
Yeah.
You know, until I got to that place that I was just like, listen, I don't cook, I don't clean, I have no desire to do it every day of my life. And
it is what it is.
It is what
Take
it
it or
is.
leave it.
You like it? And my man, like, he's like, you know, divorce can be a blessing too, right?
Divorce?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it can, because you learn what's really important, and you make it work in different ways because you have a different outlook on what you want.
Yeah.
So getting back into a relationship, you find it inspiring, but it's very challenging for me.
I can imagine. I think it's challenging for everyone for different reasons.
Yeah.
But why is it challenging?
Because I got to
ways?
this place. It took me 35 years to look myself in the mirror and say, I love you. You know, I love you legs for walking. I love you heart for beating throughout all that pain, appreciate myself, and when that's it, I loved myself fully. I would meditate 1 to 3 hours a day to uncover.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time.
I was like, I went in a deep other end of the spectrum. I don't suggest it too much, but I was like in a whole other world, you know? So I was just like, oh, I just really wanted, I knew my soulmate was waiting for me. I just needed to be ready for him.
Yeah.
And so I came into this relationship where this man is like, hey, you know, whatever it takes, I'll wait. Whatever you're going through, I got you, girl. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And then you find out there's a lot of things that you haven't healed yet, you know? So I was like, oh no, again?
Yeah.
I'm here again? Yeah, there was a few things that...
There's a certain piece that you have on your own that is easier to maintain than when you're in a relationship.
I think so.
Yeah.
You too. And, you know, I think when I was 28 in that marriage, I was just like, well, it's me that matters, my happiness that matters. So coming into something that's in a healthy mindset and ready, you're like, oh, okay, well, how does that make you happy? You know, make you feel. And then I realized there was a lot of things that I didn't work on because I hadn't fallen in love again. And it's the first, so now I fell in love and I'm like, oh, there's some insecurities there. Oh, okay. No, what do you mean? No. I love myself. I'm confident and, you know, I'm great. I'm fantastic. I healed and I don't have anything left. Okay. Yeah.
But you must bounce back from those moments much more quickly.
When they come back for me, they bring me down a lot. Like I'll spend like a day or two, like crying on the floor.
Okay.
Like, I can't believe I'm here again.
Yeah.
You know, it's 20 years, I'm healing.
Yeah.
And then there's just like, okay, did it before. This is just it, girl. You know, if you want to be free completely. So this is the last of it. I think the deep stuff. Let's do it. And I try to hide from it. I tried to say I was okay and I don't need it. I don't need to dig anymore. I'm okay. I could do it on my own. But in New York, because I had time alone, I told my boyfriend, I'm ready. To go back and heal with a professional.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
good. That's awesome.
There's some things I just need clarity and direction on, and you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. No, you definitely don't.
Yeah. I did alone for so long that it was hard to, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny because I'm not someone who has ever struggled to ask for help. Like, I know it's like an issue for a lot of people. To me, it's like, well, I need it. So like, it's not,
Yeah.
but
That's
you're,
good.
you're
Good
not
for you.
alone.
Good,
You're not,
healthy.
but
No.
you're not alone in that. Like, no, I can do it. I don't need it. Like, it's very common.
Yeah. And what I want the world to know is that even with the tools, we're still human.
Yeah. There's no
You know?
escaping that.
So, some people feel so bad about themselves that, if they'll go through, things that normal human things to go through, that's it, not ask for help, or, they have to go into burnout for them to ask for help and all that stuff. We have all the tools, and it's still hard for us sometimes to.
And that doesn't make you less qualified
Right.
to help others. It's just everybody's human. Even psychologists have psychologists. Like it is what it is.
100%. But why not? Why not have a psychologist or a mentor of any sort?
Yeah.
That's just, you're gonna shoot the.
Yeah.
Not
only that, but like, and I don't think we were recording when I said this to you, but if you're taking care of your loved ones, of your clients, of like, so many people, like who's taking care of you?
Yeah.
So you also need someone who can make space for your feelings and your history. And
Yeah. I think that when you're alone, because I fought alone my life, like it was my battle that I really learned I have to get out of those patterns and be able to receive, So now, in the past few months, I'm like, I just want to receive.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anymore, obviously I do to my job and, but we're talking relationship. I'm like, I just want to receive, but that's not his fault. That's because I always have that pattern that I need to go, attend to, basically, to know that I don't have to be a one-man show.
No, you don't. And you can't pour from an empty cup.
100%. And I teach it, I freaking teach it, and, but I want to be there for my community, for my people, for the kids, for, the family. And there's so much going on, and it's a year and a half. And I'm like, I still don't understand how to make it all work, like what is that magic sauce? And, because I don't, have myself a little Mandy,
Yeah. There's a Mandy out there for you.
There's a Mandy out there.
Have you found her or him?
I first want to go into, I was suggested to go into a little more of a complex trauma therapy first, because I want to uncover my childhood for the first time. Like I'm ready, like I'm done with it. I'm done with these patterns. I'm really done with that part. And then after that, if there's any mentors out there that feel like you'll align with me,
hit her up.
Yeah.
So what's what are you hoping to accomplish in the next couple of years? With yourself, with your community in general?
So I have a little home studio. I keep it quaint. I keep it, like affordable for everybody. I'm slowly turning that into my wellness center.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So I started offering some, obviously we have fitness for express. We have mommy classes. We have, you don't have to be a mom. You could just be a human. You get a class too. We have breathwork courses that are starting next week. I'm going to have journaling. I have events. So this is just like the little, that little spark in me to open that wellness center where, honestly, just change people's lives. Somewhere to feel safe. You can have a meditation room, just chill there by yourself, somewhere to go, to grow. And if we can get onto like public speaking, that would be great too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Why not, right?
Why not?
That's a limited mindset.
For sure.
Right.
Why not? Would you want your own podcast?
I think I like this.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so we'll switch seats next time.
Yeah, you'll be my first my first guest.
There you go.
Well, my first Reiki healing, that's where I knew I got the calling to want to be a healer, the calling
The
to
one
be
that you
healer.
received?
Yes.
Okay.
And so,
There we go.
this might be the little push I needed.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy we did
You never
this.
know who changes your life
Right?
in like such an innocent appointment just
I know. Just to do some lashes.
to do some lashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having
We'll catch up
me.
again soon.
Okay. Looking forward to it.